The Newman family's two-story house in a picturesque Portland suburb presented the image of a perfect family online and off. With its elegant brick exterior, pristine white window frames, meticulously maintained lawn, and vibrant flower beds that changed with the seasons. Neighbors regularly commented on Gregory's Instagram posts with admiration for their seemingly flawless home life. Vanessa Newman exhaled deeply as she reviewed student case files spread across the kitchen island counter. At 38, her gentle features still held a delicate beauty, though worry lines had begun to form around her eyes. As a counselor at Lakeside High School for over a decade, she'd earned the unwavering trust of her students through her compassionate approach and dedication. "Stop bringing students' casework home," Gregory Newman's low, commanding voice cut through her concentration, making her shoulders tense instinctively. Gregory, a successful construction company owner, was highly respected in the community for both his business acumen and charismatic personality. Standing over 6 feet tall with a military posture, his presence dominated any room. His expensive tailored suits and confident demeanor projected the image of achievement he carefully cultivated online and in person. "I'm just preparing for tomorrow's meetings," Vanessa answered with a practiced smile. "I'll put them away soon." Gregory leaned against the kitchen counter, swirling his whiskey glass. "You're too kind. You sacrifice too much time for those troubled kids while neglecting what matters at home." Vanessa said nothing, her eyes dropping to the files. Gregory had never understood why she cared so deeply for the students he dismissively labeled as a troubled. The irony of her professional success helping teens while feeling powerless in her own home wasn't lost on her. "Where's Madison?" Gregory asked, reaching for his phone as if contemplating another family photo opportunity. "In her room, I think." "She's doing homework," Vanessa replied. Gregory's expression darkened. "Shut away again. She's been acting strange lately and deleted her Instagram account without telling me. Go check what she's doing." Vanessa frowned, feeling a flutter of anxiety. She might be busy right now, and she's a 15-year-old girl. She needs some privacy too. "There's no privacy in this house when it affects our family image," Gregory's voice turned icy, leaving no room for discussion. "Go check on her. And tell her I need to talk about her social media presence." Vanessa nodded silently, carefully gathering her papers and choosing compliance to avoid confrontation. She had long ago convinced herself that maintaining peace in their home was her responsibility, a far cry from the outspoken advocacy work of her college years. Madison's door was closed. Vanessa knocked gently. "Madison, may I come in?" When no response came, she opened the door quietly. In the dimly lit room, Madison lay on her bed wearing a simple t-shirt and sweatpants. She was intensely focused on her phone but immediately darkened the screen when her mother entered, a look of alarm crossing her face. "Are you okay?" Vanessa asked, maternal worry flooding through her. Instead of answering, Madison curled inward defensively. Her long brown hair, so like her father Thomas's, fell forward, shielding her expression. "My stomach hurts." Vanessa sat carefully on the edge of her daughter's bed, noting how bare the walls had become. "That's the 3rd day in a row. Do you have a fever?" She reached toward Madison's forehead, but her daughter flinched away. "No fever. I just don't feel well," Madison answered. "What about food? You've barely eaten." "I could heat up some soup?" Vanessa asked. Madison shook her head slightly. "Not hungry." Vanessa glanced around the room, her counselor's training and maternal instinct both raising alarm bells. The walls that once displayed vibrant artwork and photos of friends were now starkly empty. Her formerly cheerful, artistically talented daughter had transformed into someone she barely recognized. Madison's grades had plummeted, she'd abandoned her photography, her social media accounts had disappeared, and she rarely left her room. "How was your English test last week?" Vanessa asked. "Got a C," Madison answered flatly. "You got a C? You've always excelled in English." "What happened?" "Don't know. Just couldn't concentrate." Vanessa felt Madison's body tense as Gregory's heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. He appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, phone in hand. "She's sick again?" Irritation seeped into his voice. Vanessa looked up at him, instinctively shielding Madison with her body. Her stomach hurts. It's been going on for days now. Teenage make-believe, Gregory said dismissively. She just wants attention and an excuse to avoid reinstating her social media accounts. Don't use illness as an excuse for your falling grades and disappearing online presence. Gregory, she really, Vanessa said. Enough, he cut off Vanessa's protest. Don't coddle her. When I was in military school, I never missed a day even with pneumonia. She needs to learn discipline, not weakness. Madison remained silent, facing the wall. Vanessa placed a gentle hand on her daughter's shoulder, but Madison remained still as stone. You're going to school tomorrow, and we're discussing your social media accounts when I get home. Understood? Gregory commanded. Madison nodded slightly, resignation in the gesture. After Gregory left, Vanessa stroked her daughter's hair tenderly. If you're really worried, I could take you to see a doctor. Dad won't allow it. Madison's voice trembled with fear that seemed disproportionate. Then. Vanessa hesitated, searching for words. We could go secretly while he's at work. Madison finally turned toward her mother, and Vanessa's heart broke at the emptiness in her eyes, once so full of creativity and life. It's okay. It's just a stomach ache. Deep in her heart, Vanessa knew this wasn't merely a stomach ache. Something lurked in Madison's eyes, a profound sadness and terror that transcended physical illness, yet she couldn't identify its source despite her professional training. You can tell me anything, Vanessa whispered, reaching for her daughter. There's nothing to tell, Madison turned away sharply. Please leave me alone. Vanessa left Madison's room with leaden steps. Downstairs, Gregory had settled on the couch, scrolling through his phone while a news program played in the background. He had entered Madison's life 5 years ago when she was only 10, following Vanessa's husband Thomas's death in a car accident. Gregory had offered them financial stability and security when they needed it most. 2 years later, he formally adopted Madison, legally becoming her father. Their relationship had seemed positive at first, but gradual changes began to surface. Madison's withdrawal, Gregory's increasing demands for control over her social media presence and stricter house rules. Vanessa had initially attributed these changes to normal adolescent growing pains, but her intuition now warned that something far more troubling lurked beneath the polished surface of their family life. When she entered the living room, Gregory glanced up from his phone and gave her an icy stare. Don't even think about taking her to any doctor. It's a waste of money and attention. Don't use our insurance for such make-believe illnesses when she's clearly just being dramatic about her social media restrictions. Vanessa nodded quietly, swallowing her objections. The next morning, Vanessa watched from the living room window as Madison boarded the school bus. The girl's shoulders slumped forward, and exhaustion seemed to emanate from her entire being. She had refused breakfast, and her normally vibrant complexion remained ghostly pale. I wonder if forcing her to go to school was really the right thing to do, Vanessa muttered to herself, her master's degree in counseling psychology at odds with her actions as a mother. Of course it was, Gregory said, appearing behind her with startling suddenness. He was already dressed in his tailored business suit, ready for an important client meeting. If you coddle her, she'll always remain weak and never learn to present herself properly online or in real life. Discipline builds character. Vanessa nodded silently, her eyes still tracking the departing school bus. She knew from painful experience that questioning Gregory's parenting philosophy would trigger a lengthy, one-sided argument. Gregory was leaving for a 3-day business conference in Seattle, which meant at least the house would be free from his overbearing presence. Keep a close eye on Madison while I'm gone. Monitor all her activities, Gregory emphasized, checking his own perfectly curated social media accounts on his phone. Check her texts, her browsing history, and especially if she tries to reinstall her social accounts without my permission, he added. Disgust flickered across Vanessa's face before she could mask it. Yes, I understand, she answered mechanically. She had always felt deeply uncomfortable with Gregory's invasive monitoring of Madison's privacy, but had reluctantly complied under the guise of modern parenting concerns. The hypocrisy of her professional stance on teen privacy versus what she allowed in her own home weighed heavily on her conscience. After Gregory's departure, Vanessa drove to Lakeside High School, where she'd been counseling troubled teens for over a decade. Waiting for her in the counseling suite was her colleague and closest friend, Lydia Foster, a fellow counselor who had supported Vanessa through the dark days after Thomas's death. "Vanessa, you look absolutely drained," Lydia said, her forehead creasing with concern. "Another late night with case files?" she asked. Vanessa managed a weary smile that didn't reach her eyes. "No. I'm worried sick about Madison." They moved to the private consultation room where they wouldn't be overheard. Vanessa confided in Lydia about Madison's alarming behavior over recent months, plummeting grades, her mysterious withdrawal from photography club, her sudden deletion of all social media accounts, and especially the recurring, unexplained illnesses. "Gregory insists it's all for attention. He won't even let me take her to a doctor," Vanessa said. Lydia's expression darkened immediately. "What? That makes no sense. This is about her health, not his control issues." "He calls it a waste of money and time," Vanessa continued, her professional composure cracking. "But I know something's seriously wrong. It's not just the nausea, stomach pain, and loss of appetite. The light in her eyes, the creativity and joy that made her Madison, it's completely gone." Lydia took Vanessa's trembling hands in her own firm grasp. "Listen to me, Vanessa. You've helped hundreds of students through crises as a counselor. The disconnect between your professional instincts and your actions at home is alarming. A child's well-being must come before a husband's control issues. You need to act on your professional judgment." Tears welled in Vanessa's eyes as Lydia's words resonated with the voice she'd been suppressing for too long. "Without Gregory's permission?" Vanessa asked, hating how small her voice sounded. "Gregory's away at his conference, right?" "This is your opportunity," Lydia said firmly, her experience as a domestic violence counselor evident in her direct approach. "Take Madison to the hospital today. As both a mother and a mental health professional, that's not just your right. It's your ethical obligation," Lydia added. That afternoon, Vanessa called Madison's school and arranged for her early dismissal, citing a medical emergency. "Mom, what's happening?" Madison looked startled to see Vanessa waiting at the school's main entrance instead of taking the bus home. "We're going to see a doctor," Vanessa stated with newfound resolve, her counselor's badge still hanging around her neck from work. Madison glanced around nervously, fear evident in her posture. "But Dad. Dad's at his conference in Seattle." "And your health comes first," Vanessa said firmly, reclaiming a fragment of the assertiveness she'd once been known for. Something flickered in Madison's eyes, a tiny spark of hope, perhaps, but it quickly vanished beneath layers of fear. She nodded silently and slid into the passenger seat of her mother's car, clutching her backpack protectively against her chest. Vanessa drove not to their neighborhood clinic but to Riverside Medical Center in the adjacent county. She needed to avoid any chance of being seen by Gregory's business associates or clients. Her hands trembled slightly as she presented her insurance card at the reception desk, half expecting Gregory to have somehow monitored their location through one of his tracking apps. "Madison, what seems to be troubling you today?" Dr. Audrey Patel, a compassionate physician with South Asian features, asked in a gentle, professional tone. Madison darted a nervous glance at her mother. "Mom, I need to speak with the doctor alone, please." Vanessa flinched as though struck, pain lancing through her heart that Madison couldn't speak freely in her presence. The anxiety about what dark secret her daughter might be harboring squeezed her throat tight, yet her professional training reminded her of the importance of respecting Madison's autonomy. "Of course," Vanessa forced a reassuring smile. "I'll wait right outside." Alone in the sterile waiting area, Vanessa couldn't calm her racing thoughts or pounding heart. Terrible possibilities flooded her mind about what Madison might be revealing to Dr. Patel and why she needed privacy from her own mother. Was it drugs? An eating disorder? Self-harm? She tried desperately to push away the frightening scenarios her counselor's experience suggested. 45 minutes later, each minute feeling like an eternity, the examination room door finally opened. Dr. Patel's expression was grave, her professional demeanor intact but strained, and Madison's eyes were swollen and red from crying. "Mrs. Newman, Dr. Patel addressed Vanessa, her voice measured and serious. I need to discuss some concerns with you. Your daughter requires several diagnostic tests that I'd like to perform today, with your consent. Vanessa couldn't mask her mounting distress. Tests? What kind of tests are we talking about? Blood work and, the doctor paused momentarily, carefully selecting her words, an ultrasound examination. Ultrasound? A cold, ominous feeling spread through Vanessa's chest like ice water. Is it something serious? Dr. Patel maintained her professional composure. I can't make any definitive statements until we have the test results. We should have complete findings by tomorrow evening. Would you be able to return then? Vanessa looked at Madison, who sat hunched in on herself, staring at the floor tiles as silent tears tracked down her pale cheeks. Of course, Vanessa answered without hesitation. Whatever my daughter needs. We'll be here. Suffocating silence filled the car as they drove home after the tests. Vanessa tried to speak but couldn't find adequate words. Mom, I'm really scared, Madison suddenly whispered, her voice trembling. Vanessa immediately pulled over and embraced her daughter protectively. Whatever happens, I'm here for you completely. We'll face this together. Madison broke into deep sobs against her mother's shoulder. Despite her professional crisis training, nothing had prepared Vanessa for this moment with her own child. She silently vowed to protect Madison regardless of what tomorrow would reveal. At home, Madison retreated to her room while Vanessa mechanically prepared dinner, calculating how to return to the hospital and be back before Gregory's return. Her counselor's intuition warned their family life was about to shatter completely. The next afternoon, Vanessa finished her final counseling session at Lakeside High School. The clock showed 3:45. Gregory will call at 5. We need to be back from the hospital before then, she thought anxiously. Vanessa. How are you holding up? Lydia asked, catching her at the door. I don't know, but we're about to learn the truth, Vanessa replied, her composure slipping. I'm here for you, whatever happens, Lydia promised, squeezing her shoulder. Vanessa hurried to the parking lot where Madison waited, looking paler than yesterday. In the car, Madison stared silently out the window while Vanessa drove, unable to find comforting words. At Riverside Medical Center, Vanessa heard Madison's breathing grow rapid as they sat in the parked car. Madison, Vanessa turned to her daughter, whatever we face, I love you completely and will protect you. We'll get through this together. Tears filled Madison's eyes as she nodded slightly, their first real connection in months. Inside the sterile hospital, they were escorted to Dr. Patel's office. Mrs. Newman, Madison, please sit down, the doctor greeted them gravely. Tension filled the room as Dr. Patel studied her computer screen before taking a deep breath. The test results have come back, she said calmly, though concern shadowed her eyes. The ultrasound shows. Vanessa's heart pounded violently. Madison is approximately 12 weeks pregnant. Blood rushed in Vanessa's ears as a strangled cry escaped her lips. Madison covered her face and broke into gut-wrenching sobs. Vanessa instinctively embraced her, though her own body trembled uncontrollably. I understand this is overwhelming, Dr. Patel said quietly. This is extraordinarily difficult, especially given Madison's age. Questions swirled in Vanessa's mind, how, when, and most terrifyingly, who? Who? She finally forced out. Who did this to you? Madison couldn't answer through her tears. I think we should talk privately, Dr. Patel suggested gently as a nurse came to stay with Madison. In a small consultation room, the doctor instructed Vanessa to breathe deeply. There are several options to consider, Dr. Patel continued, but Madison's psychological well-being must be the priority. This makes no sense, Vanessa responded. Madison barely leaves the house. She doesn't have a boyfriend. During our conversation, some deeply concerning information came to light, Dr. Patel replied softly. I've requested a social worker who specializes in adolescent cases. A social worker? Why? Vanessa felt ice spreading through her veins. The circumstances may involve serious legal implications. Legal? Vanessa repeated numbly as a horrifying possibility crystallized. Are you saying Madison was sexually assaulted? Dr. Patel didn't answer directly. Bethany Hughes from Child Protective Services has arrived. After she speaks with Madison, we'll talk together. Vanessa gripped the chair's armrests in the consultation room, her legs trembling uncontrollably. 10 minutes felt like hours as her mind raced through horrifying possibilities. A knock interrupted her thoughts as a professional woman entered. Mrs. Newman, I'm Bethany Hughes from Child Protective Services, she introduced herself compassionately. Madison? Vanessa whispered anxiously. She's with Dr. Patel and safe, Bethany assured her. Please sit. What I must discuss is extremely difficult. Vanessa nodded firmly, steeling herself. Madison has revealed she's been sexually abused consistently for the past year, Bethany stated directly. For a year? Vanessa's face showed disbelief. By whom? A teacher? Coach? Your husband, Gregory Newman, Bethany said. Vanessa's world collapsed instantly. That's impossible, she shook her head violently. Gregory is her father. He adopted her legally. He couldn't do something so horrible. Children rarely fabricate such detailed allegations, Bethany stated with quiet certainty. Why wouldn't she tell me? I'm her mother and a counselor, Vanessa's voice broke. Madison was terrified of hurting you. Gregory threatened that revealing the truth would destroy you professionally. He convinced her no one would believe her against his public image. Devastating guilt and rage overwhelmed Vanessa as her professional facade crumbled. We must file a police report immediately, Bethany stated firmly. Gregory's at a conference in Seattle until tomorrow, Vanessa responded mechanically. That's fortunate timing. You need to relocate immediately. Do you have friends you could stay with? Bethany asked. Yes, my colleague Lydia Foster, Vanessa replied. After recording statements, you'll move to her home while we secure a protection order and arrest warrant, Bethany said. Though overwhelmed, one truth became crystal clear to Vanessa: she must protect Madison at all costs. I need to see Madison now, she rose unsteadily. Bethany escorted her to Dr. Patel's examination room. Madison sat hunched in a chair, eyes red from crying. When Vanessa entered, Madison flinched fearfully. Madison, I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you, Vanessa's voice trembled. I wanted to tell you, but I was terrified, Madison cried. He said it'd hurt you and make everyone think I was crazy. Vanessa embraced her daughter protectively as they sobbed together, their shared grief and silent apologies flowing between them. It's going to be okay, now, Vanessa whispered, stroking Madison's hair. I won't let anyone hurt you again. I'll protect you with everything I have. Vanessa woke disoriented in Lydia's guest room. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was, but seeing Madison asleep beside her, yesterday's revelations crashed back. She quietly approached the window as morning light filtered through. The police station interviews had been nightmarish. Madison recounting painful details while Vanessa answered questions about warning signs she'd missed. I should have seen it, Vanessa whispered. With all my training. Don't torture yourself, Lydia said gently, offering coffee. Predators like Gregory are master manipulators. Did you sleep? Lydia asked compassionately. Vanessa shook her head. Just fragments between nightmares. But Madison is finally resting. The detective called. Gregory was arrested at his conference this morning, Lydia reported. I'll tell Madison when she wakes. She needs rest, Vanessa responded. There's more. Police found inappropriate photos of Madison on his devices and recovered threatening messages. Vanessa paled, her hands shaking violently. How long was this happening? The evidence spans at least a year. Some messages mentioned controlling her social media as punishment, Bethany said. A heavy silence fell between them. Vanessa's shock crystallized into fury, her affection for Gregory transforming into self-recrimination and hatred. How could I miss this? I counsel traumatized teenagers daily, Vanessa said. Families rarely recognize abuse until it's undeniable, Lydia explained. Gregory cultivated a perfect image. No one suspected the darkness behind his social media facade. Detective Winston Reed arrived at Lydia's house to update them on the investigation. "Mrs. Newman," he addressed Vanessa formally, "Gregory is currently denying all allegations, as expected." Vanessa's hands clenched into fists, anger rising despite the overwhelming evidence against her husband. "This is typical behavior," Detective Reed explained. "Our digital forensics team is building a strong case, and DNA testing will confirm paternity." Madison came downstairs hesitantly and sat beside her mother. "Dad? Gregory?" she asked almost inaudibly. "He's in custody," Vanessa assured her, squeezing her hand. "You're safe now." Detective Reed smiled gently at Madison. "Your courage is extraordinary. Thanks to you, justice will be served and others may be protected." For the first time in over a year, Vanessa noticed a tiny spark returning to Madison's eyes. "Have investigators determined why Gregory did this?" Vanessa asked unsteadily. "Psychological assessment shows classic controller patterns," Reed explained. "He used his position to establish dominance, particularly by restricting her social media, a modern isolation tactic." The psychologist also noted pathological jealousy toward Thomas, Madison's biological father. When Madison's artistic talents, traits shared with her father, became more pronounced in adolescence, Gregory's abuse intensified. Vanessa trembled as everything clicked into place: the monitoring of Madison's online activities, criticism of Thomas, obsession with their perfect social media image, all warning signs she'd missed. "What happens next?" she asked, seeking structure amid chaos. "First, secure a protection order. Second, file for divorce. Third, get specialized counseling for both of you," Reed advised pragmatically. When Vanessa quietly mentioned the pregnancy, fresh tears filled Madison's eyes. Detective Reed discreetly left the room. Alone together, Vanessa held her daughter's hands. "Whatever you decide, I'm completely on your side." "I can't have this baby," Madison said through tears. "I'd remember everything." Vanessa embraced her tightly. "I understand and respect your choice. We'll get through this together." Later, with Madison finally asleep, Vanessa sat with Lydia in the kitchen. "I can never return to that house," she whispered. "Every corner holds memories of his deception and her suffering." "Stay here as long as needed," Lydia offered, squeezing her friend's hand. Determination replaced shock in Vanessa's eyes. "We need a complete fresh start somewhere new. We'll erase our digital footprint with Gregory and rebuild our lives." Lydia recognized the resilient counselor Vanessa had once been re-emerging. "You're finding your strength again." Despite the challenges ahead, the trial, media attention, recovery, you and Madison will create a new life together. On a crisp February morning, Vanessa and Madison climbed the courthouse steps together, their breath visible in the winter air. Today was Gregory Newman's final sentencing hearing. "Ready?" Vanessa asked, squeezing her daughter's hand supportively. Madison nodded with newfound determination. The past 4 months of therapy had slowly restored pieces of her former self. Art therapy and survivor support groups had proven especially healing, but the strongest medicine was the renewed bond with her mother. Inside the hushed courtroom, Gregory was led to the defendant's table. Vanessa barely recognized the hollow-eyed stranger who had replaced the charismatic businessman she'd married. Despite his initial denials, the evidence was irrefutable. DNA tests confirmed his paternity, while digital forensics recovered deleted photos and threatening messages that validated Madison's testimony. Gregory had ultimately accepted a plea deal, though Madison bravely chose to deliver a victim impact statement to inspire other survivors. Defendant Gregory Allen Newman, Judge Eleanor Wright announced firmly, "You have pleaded guilty to sexual abuse of a minor, possession of child sexual abuse material, and incest." Her expression hardened. "You exploited your position to victimize a child you were obligated to protect. This represents the most profound betrayal of trust. This court sentences you to 25 years in prison, with no parole eligibility until after 18 years served." Vanessa embraced Madison protectively as relief washed over them both. One chapter had ended. Healing could truly begin. Outside the courthouse, spring sunshine warmed their faces after the long winter of trauma and healing. 3 weeks earlier, they had permanently left Portland behind, relocating to Riverdale, a small artistic community nearly 200 miles away. Vanessa had secured a position as head counselor at the local high school, while Madison had enrolled in a progressive arts academy that nurtured her rediscovered passion for photography. "Mom," Madison said unexpectedly as they walked toward their car, "I've decided to share my story on the survivor support group's protected online forum." Vanessa looked at her daughter with surprised admiration. "Really? That's an incredibly brave choice." Madison's lips curved into a small but genuine smile, a precious sight that had once seemed lost forever. "It might help someone else trapped in silence. My therapist said something that really resonated with me: silence only protects the perpetrator, never the victim." Vanessa wrapped her arms around Madison, her heart swelling with both pride and protective love. The past year had tested them beyond imagination, yet through that crucible of suffering, their relationship had been reforged into something stronger and more authentic than before. As they settled into the car, Vanessa reflected on their journey. A true family isn't defined by DNA or legal documents, but by relationships built on protection, respect, and unwavering support. The road ahead would undoubtedly hold challenges as they both continued healing, but they would face each one together, supporting each other step by step toward their reclaimed lives. Madison picked up her camera from the back seat, a new digital model that symbolized her fresh start, and captured the courthouse receding in the distance, an image representing both closure and new beginnings.